task to make sure that we can write a little bit of, well, okay, we're writing course documentation and we are defining the structure on how to test an application written in JavaScript and HTML. And last time, well, absolutely not. That's not what we want to share. We want to share this one. No, we don't want to share this one either. Why am I sharing the wrong screen here? Mirror this one then. Okay, so this is definitely not what I want. Why did I mess that up? Okay, so I want to mirror this. No, I don't want to mirror this. I want to mirror this. Yes, this is the one I want to send off. Gosh, that was problematic enough, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, but this is also a bit messed up, isn't it? Anyways, let's go with this for now. Okay, so last time around we were dealing with the setup, and I think we got to a fairly good state, but no, we can definitely do better than that. Now, so we went through the entire setup process, and we added this method or this hack to make sure that we can export the module from our address book, even though we are when we are in node environment, and this one will not render any errors when we are using this address book class in the browser. So that was the last thing we kind of added yesterday, because there will be a problem with this setup if we just keep module exports address book as it is. So yeah, that's the spirit, I guess. All right, let's do another section here, and we're gonna call this 102 faking local storage .md. Now the reason why we're gonna fake local storage is because there is no local storage in node environment. Local storage exists only in the browser, so we need to make sure that we can do that. Faking local storage, just faking local storage and test it. Yeah, well, right. So let's just play around with this first and then write documentation later. Let's see if we are we're gonna create a unit test, and we're gonna call this local storage .spec.js. That's what we're gonna try to do. And so we want to describe local storage, and we don't have to include anything here because the local storage fake will be set up in our spec helper, or at least included in the spec helper later. So we don't necessarily have to add anything to our test file at this point, at least. There are, this address book challenge requires us, or will require the user to use local storage. And again, we don't have local storage, we need to fake it. What methods are we gonna be using? Well, let's take a look at that. So let's bring up a browser and open up the dev tools. Remove that. We can go here, clear the console. Right. Can I remove this? Yeah, I can. Okay. Right. So let's make this a little bigger. And so local storage is a specific storage mechanism that allows us to store key value pairs as strings, I guess, right? So let's see if we can define let a contact, for instance, equal, and it's going to be an object, and we can say name, and it's going to be Thomas, for instance, and then we're going to say phone, and that will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then an email, and that would be Thomas at craftacademy.se, for instance, right? So we have that as a variable, and now we want to use local storage to store this. First, we can check what is in local storage. There's nothing there at this point. So we could say set local storage. We can say set item. There is a set item function, and that takes two arguments. The first argument will be the key that we want to store all of this info in. So we will call that contacts. That will be our holder of the contacts that we will be using. And then we would just, let's say for this iteration, just push in the contact as the data that will be stored in that particular key. And the contact is, of course, what I just defined. Right, so we get no errors back, which is nice. So let's say if we just check local storage now, we can see that we have storage contacts, and that is not gonna fly for us. We can't just push in this object into contacts, because that will result in this object, right? So that's not gonna fly. What we need to do is to say JSON stringify contact. We need to create a string out of this object. So if I do this and check local storage, now we can see that we have that thing created for us, which is nice. But there's a limitation to this, because now we will only have one object in this contacts key, and any address book should be able to accept multiple entries, of course, because otherwise it will not be a good address book with only one contact in it. So what do we need to do? First of all, let's just clear local storage. So clear is a function that is relevant for us, and that will just simply reset the local storage for in this case. Right, let's just, oh no, clear console. Okay, right. So we would need to say const contacts equals an empty array, and then we would have create one contact. Let's call it an entry. We can call it entry 1. That would be Thomas, and then just for the sake of it, I'm going to create entry 2, and that would be I don't know, Kalle. Should we try that? Just for the sake of it, right? Kalle, like this. Okay, so now we have 2 entries, and we want to push in the first entry. Let's start with one at a time, right? So we want to push in the first entry into the contacts array. So we will say contacts dot push, and we just say entry 1 into that, which means that now contacts is an array with an object in it, right? As on the first index. Okay, and so this is what we want to store in our local storage. So we could say JSON parse stringify contacts, like this, and now that will be an array if you look at this closely, and then there will be an object in it. Okay, so this is what we want to store in local storage. So now we can say local storage set item, and the item we want to create is still contacts. That's going to be the name of that, and then we just want to pass in this JSON stringify contacts. Oops, I need a comma, don't forget the comma. Right, we want to push this into this local storage as a string. And now if we check local storage, we can see that it has these this content. And now the problematic thing here is, depending on how you use local storage, but you can access this contacts value by saying local storage dot contacts, like this, which is not, in my opinion, a proper way to do that, but rather the better way would be to say local storage gets item, and then pass in as a string the name of the key, so contacts, like this. And now if we hit enter on this, we will get the result. All right, so if we want to now, let's say that we have this this entry in contacts. I'm going to clear the console just to make sure that we still have it. Yeah, we have it. Right, and now let's say that we want to push in an entry 2 into this key. That's going to be a bit problematic if you just push this in directly. That will probably overwrite that. So remember, we created contacts as an empty array, and I think we did that as as a constant. So that's a bit of a problem. But let's just say new contact, right? We can do let for this I don't think I need to do a real variable. I can probably create a constant, but it's easier if I mess anything up here, right? So so we're going to say new contacts equals, contacts equals the thing that is already in the array. Let's say we're going to work on that. So it's everything what we need. So we could say JSON. So new contacts would be JSON parse a local storage get item contacts, like this. New contacts would be whatever is in contacts already parsed, not as a string. We don't want this as a string. Let's see if that works. So new contacts should in principle contain that info about Thomas, right? And so now we can just say local new contacts push entry 2, like this, and we want to set the item of contracts to new contracts like this. And now if we just check local storage, we should have 2 of them. No? Yeah, we do, right? Name, Thomas, phone this, email this, and then copy name, color. Right, exactly. So now we have 2 of them, exactly. So, and again, if we want to parse this out of that, in case we are interested in that, we, oh, you should, there's one. There we go. Right, and now we get 2 of them back. Okay, so at this stage, what we need to do is to remove. We need 3 methods. We need the get item, or rather set item and get item, and we used clear, so that would be one thing. But there is another one perhaps that could be interesting, and that is, but I don't know if that is really relevant. Let's clear this. Let's just check local storage. Right, we have that. So there is another one that is called local storage remove item, and if we just say contacts on that, remove item contacts, and now if we check local storage, it has removed. And I mean, remove contact is safer than just calling clear, because clear clears the entire local storage and not just the one that we are interested in removing. So in a way, we could say that we have create item, or sorry, set item, and then get item, remove item, and then clear. So we want to create four methods in this fake local storage. And so for those who have joined, I just want to say that what we are doing is that I want to write some specifications and test local storage in my Mocha setup. And since the Mocha setup does not spin up a browser, we don't have local storage available, and so we need to fake that. And I know that there is a package that is called something like fake local storage, but I wanted to do this from scratch. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead with that. Right. Let's write some tests for this. So I'm going to say, what am I going to say? First of all, I want to create a subject. Right, subject, and that would be subject, not subject, and that will be window local storage, and that in itself will give me an error probably. And then we want to say it, and then do I have to do this? Is expected, is expected. How do we do that? No, I think is expected dot to respond to, is it respond to? Let's, oh shoot, I'm a bit, so my chai assertion skills are not what they should be. to respond to. Okay, so respond to. I think I can do this. Respond to, and then we just want to say get item. Get item. It is expected, and then we can just add this. We're going to add four different methods. So we're going to say set item, and then remove item, and then clear. Right. And all of this will fail probably for me now. So I'm just going to say dot only on this, because this is the only one I want to run. And now I think I have a runner set up, but where's my terminal? Don't I have a terminal open? Let's open it. Well, or at least, you know what, I can run these tests directly from here. Right, so let's run the mocha tests, and reference window is not defined. Of course it isn't, right? Because there is no window object in this environment. So we need to create that. So we're going to go over to our spec helper, and we're just going to say global.window, and that would be an object. And then the next thing we want to do is to say global.window local storage is also an object, right? Now we're gonna fill this with some functionality. Let's see if we can run the test now. And now we got invalid child property. That's interesting. Remove item, get respond to get item. Invalid child property. Invalid child property. Wow. That's... Oh, because I misspelled something. Of course I did. So let's actually call it local. And this is expected to... Well, what are you? Two is expected to respond. That was just totally wrong way of writing this. So it's my autocomplete that messed that up. Anyway, let's run it. Right, exactly. So now we're going assertion error, expected nothing to respond to get item. That is a fairly quick fix, so we can just add get item would be a function, set item would be a function. Whoops, this autocomplete, come on, give me a fucking break. We need this comma, of course, and then remove item would also be a function, and then what was it, clear, right? Clear would be an item, right? No, there we go. And these tests should pass in principle. Now, no, it did not. Yeah, because we forgot this. Right, okay, so now we are responding to these methods. Okay, but in the real world local storage, we're storing things directly in the local storage under local storage objects, right? But here we can't really do that, or at least I can't be bothered with dealing this. And since we're only going to access data using those 4 methods, or deal with data using those 4 methods, we don't necessarily have to follow everything or mimic the real local storage behavior 100% accurately, we can deviate a little bit from that. So one deviation we will do, just to keep things as simple as possible, is to store whatever is supposed to be stored in this faked local storage in a data attribute, and that will be also an object. So we will just add a test to say they shouldn't respond to have property, I think, property, and that will be data. Let's see if that works, if that's the correct chai assertion. And if not, I'm just gonna look it up. But it did have that. So let's break it. Just say DAT, should go red. Yeah, good stuff. So that was a real test. Okay, so now we have the property data, and it's right. So we could, in principle, say that we could rewrite these tests to say it is expected to have property get item type function or something like that. Not sure if that is actually relevant, but we can try just because we can try. So we're just gonna go to yeah, let me pull up the browser again. That's where I was playing around with the local storage. Let's just see if we can say chai expect assertion. I had that up the other day. That's the should API explain, right? So I just say type prototype equals to have one property. Let's see, what do we have here? Its own property. Right. I wonder what the difference is between B own. So the own property. Okay. So the own property is something that it's actually there, but this is the prototype property. Okay. So I wonder if I should care about the own or not. Let's not do it. Okay, let's see if we can right, to be a promise, undefined symbol, to be an array, to be a string, include, expect that to be an array that includes 2. That's a nice one, but that's not what I'm looking for. Nested, not sure if we can, to include all keys, that's not, to be okay, that's not, no, false, no, null, no, undefined, no, not a number, no, exists, that's not. Let's see, function, non-function object, 106, to be an instance of cat, to be a, let's see if we should, right, that's not very easy to search for. With property, right, no. Let's not deal with that at this point. You know, there's too many things to browse through on this. There's multiple ways of property that's equal to undefined. Let's see now. Okay, I can't really let go of things. I expect to have property be property to have own property, but I really want to say to have an own property that is like property and type at the same time. Could I do that? Is there any examples of that? Length of property, respond to, So that's what we used. Now let's stick to respond to at this stage. I think that that's gonna be enough. You know, yeah, that's gonna be enough. All right, let's stick to that. Okay, so anyway, we have these properties. One way or another, we are starting to hammer out the faked stuff. Right. Okay, so let's describe the get or set item. Set item. So we're just going to do set item. Right. Set item. Let's describe set item. So when we set an item, we want to do well. We want to add some data, right? So we can say let data equal an object, and that's going to be just name test guy, test person, right? And then phone. And I'm actually gonna include those attributes for the sake of it, and then email whatever at mail.com, right? We probably want to validate some of this stuff later on, but not in this case. So we're going to call this, yeah, no, just data. Okay. And then we want to do a before block, and in that before block we want to say subject set item, and then my key, and then data, JSON stringify the data. Okay, so we want to do that before we do anything else, and then we want to read this. So we can say we have to define this let stored data, and then we just want to say stored data equals stored data, no, come on, give me a fucking break. Stored data equals and that would be subject dot data, right? Because that's how we're going to store everything. And so now we want to say it stores data in, it's expected, is expected to store data in the key, in the chosen key, right? So the first one we want to test is expect stored data to have own property, and that would be, or I can call this actually my key. So it needs to have a property of my key. That would be the first thing, I guess, right? Then set item, this will fail, of course, because it will not if it would not be able to do this at all in the beginning. But let's continue. So then the second test would be it is expected to store the data as string, right? So we want to say expect type of stored data dot my key, expect type of stored data my key to equal to be a string. Can we say that? No, right. No, there is an assertion for that. There is actually an assertion. I don't, because what I would have, my first initial instinct is to say to equal string. But I don't think I need to do that. I can actually check for type of. Type to be type, no, type of, really, no? Are you shitting me? No, come on, give me a fucking break. There must be a type of thing. Really? I know I saw it. No, there is not. Wow. To have on property, to be to type, to have. No, apparently not. I thought it was, there was something, nested properties. Okay, anyway, well, that's it. So let's see if we can start running these guys and see where we end up. So I'm just going to say dot only here, because I know that the others are passing, so I'm not really interested in those anymore. Let's see. Right. Set item is expected to store the data string. Right. And that didn't fly at all. Good. Now we need to go into the spec helper and actually make that happen, right? So we are dealing with set item, right? So set item. So the set item needs to take 2 arguments, right? Because we are passing in the key name and the value. So this one needs to take key and value, right? And so in many other, like in RSpec, I would just get an error saying that, hey, you passed in 2 arguments, but we only accept 1 argument. So that's not possible. And here, in order to set that, this is pretty straightforward. So we're just going to say this dot data. Oh fuck, touches. What the fuck is touches? This dot data, and the key of data would be JSON stringify value, like this. We want to stringify the value. Okay, so let's run this now, and it is passing. Awesome. That's great. Good progress. So the next thing we want to do is, because we were building a faked local storage, right? So the next thing we want to build is a describe of the get item, right? So describe get item, right? But isn't there a problem, right? That between the tests we need to clear the storage, don't we? Well, let's get to that when we need to. Perhaps we need to set the clear thing. well, what we could do is just to say after 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 each, can we do that? After each, and then we just say the subject subject data equals an empty object, right? We want to reset everything. Right, so let's just run this so we didn't fuck anything up. Everything is still okay, hopefully. Yes, we are good to go. All right, so let's see the get item. So we need to create a before block, and we need to set right, so this describe data, this data is in this block, so we probably want to move this out so we can use it in the other describe block. And here I can just set this, well, I can just call this one entry 1, and so I'm going to use entry 1 here, and I'm just going to create entry 2. Actually, this can be a const, right? And then I can just create another entry 2, and we're just going to test another person, right? I don't really care about this email at this stage. Perhaps we don't need that at all. We'll see. But we have entry 1 and right. So here I just want to get item. Right, so before we just want to do this twice. I don't know why twice. Perhaps it's not relevant, but let's do that anyway. Set item. No, we don't want to do this twice actually at this stage. No, we don't want to do this stage. We just want to do it once. I'm gonna have to think about whether I need this or not, so I'm just gonna comment this out for now. Right, so subject set item, okay, and then it right, set okay, and then right, I'm gonna define an a variable, and I'm going to call this guy, it's going to be lazy evaluated, and it's not a bad thing. So I'm going to define this and say contacts, right, and that would be a function, and we're going to say subject, exactly, subject get item contacts, exactly. That's what we want to do. And so and that will be it is expected to contain an array of, well in this case no, so no, we're not, we don't really have to deal with whether this is an array or not. I mean, at this stage not that it doesn't matter. Contain a return is expected to return a string, right? Because that's what we're doing. Contacts and expect, or actually this will be, let's call it response. Response expect response to or sort type of response to be to equal string, right? Right. So actually, we don't need. I mean, at this stage, we don't. I don't even have to bother about this being an entry, like a valid entry. It doesn't really matter. This is a little bit of an overkill, in my opinion, because we're not testing anything that has to do with the address book yet. So we don't care what sort of data we are storing. Only that we are storing something, right? So if we run this guy, this should fail for us now, right? Yeah, it was undefined, of course. And then so here we need to say get item. So we just want to say this one needs to take a key value, and that's what we are saying, get item contacts, right? So we want this key, and in here we just want to say this dot data and the key, this dot key, right? So const, we're just going to say const value equals this data key, and then we just return value if there is a value, otherwise we return null. So we just say, let's just say value is this, and then, well, return value if there is a value, or we return null, right? I don't know even if I need this ternary operator there. We'll figure it out later. All right, let's see if we can run this. Boom. Object. It got an object. Really? Why would you get an object? Right. Let's have a look. So this data key. So what is key? Key should be contact. No, my key, exactly. My key. Yeah. And this dot data is nothing. Really? Because I fucked up or what? No. But we did set item. What do you mean local storage? What the fuck did I? Low? What? What? What are you talking about? Oh yeah, low. Oh, that was just a message. Local storage. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So the after each, and right. We should return this. Let's run this again. I have my debugger set up. So this key, this data, is it empty really? Okay, and this data key is just an object. That's simply an object. Oh yeah, because I never executed that. Damn. This is the shortcoming of this package that I'm using. Uh, right. So no, but I'm setting subject set item. Yeah, exactly. I am doing that. Right. So why is this not setting that? Okay. Okay. So okay. Why is this done in that particular order? Subject is the data, and there is data my key. Yeah, so that is being set. Why would we define that? Okay, so do I need to define that in the before block like this? That's weird. Yeah, this is being executed set item. Oh, come on, Thomas, you're just being stupid now. Right. Okay, let's just set this here. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. First of all, I need to be here and not that. Okay, let's just run this again, and we get an object. Okay, so let's get the item. So let's do this here. Right. Okay, so here we can try. What is this data? This dot data, and we have a key, right? And the value. So what is value? Value. What? This data key. Is that undefined? And what is key? Key is contact. Why would I ask for contacts? What's wrong with me? Why would I ask for contacts? Yeah, of course. My key. Damn it. Damn it. That was just simply dumb. That's simply dumb. Yeah, it's a return string. Damn it. All this debugging for just one sloppy error from my side because I didn't stay on top of my thing. Get item. Right. And in this particular case, we could potentially is expect like it is expected to parse to the valid the entry the uh, expected content or data. So we could say something like expect JSON parse the response the expect JSON parse response to equal entry 1. But that was also like an array, right? So we're just gonna go to this expected data. Right, I don't know. Let's just run these. Null of null. JSON per response. Really? Okay, let's try it again. And then we're just gonna see what is response. Not get, but what is response? It's null. Why is it null? Okay, and right, so what is subject? Subject, it is data and it doesn't contain anything. Why wouldn't this not contain anything when I have a before each? Okay, so if we're gonna do before each instead of before, okay. Perhaps that is it. Let's see. I'm so glad that I can debug this in VS Code. Expected. Right, so let's just do this. Expect the name to equal object name to equal entry. Right, so okay, duh. Let's run this again, and now we just do. First of all, let's have a look at what is response. What is response? That is okay. All right. So if I just that's a string, of course. And what if I parse this now? Oh no. What? So do I have to double? What are you fucking shitting me? No. Why would I have to? Okay, so this is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. Right. So I have to double parse this? Wow. So because we are storing this as a string. Right. It's a bit problematic for us. It's a bit problematic for us. That's not what I want to do. I mean, I could just parse this twice, but why would? Let's have a look at the get item. Get item. This get item. Could we just say JSON parse? But it's not exactly what I'm. Is this because we are setting this as stringify? But I want to store this as a string. Okay, so if we just do if we just do subject dot data, yeah, it is stored twice, but it is stored twice. I mean, my key is right. So what if we don't stringify this? Like here, if we just don't do that. And check this now. And now it is stored as a string. Because I am stringifying it here. Right, of course. Then it doesn't have to be stringified. We always have to pass this in stringified, of course. So I don't have to do that in the other one. Right. Right. Okay. So so let's see why. Let's have a look what response is. Response is a string, and so if I parse the response, then this is it, and an entry 1 is this, and so my assertion is wrong because it should say equal, just equal and not equal. Let's get rid of that. Let's do this. Oh shit, sorry. There. Right, this passes now. So there's a difference between equal and equal, EQL, in Chai. So it is what it is. Right. Okay, good stuff. So now we have that. So it's supposed to get that, and it is a string. And I solved a few problems that I have with the other one. So now we just want to say describe, what was it? Remove item, right? Remove item. And so in the so we're going to define, no, we don't need to do that. Well, yeah, yeah, we can say before each, so before each this, and we want to set this item. So do I have to do that? Yeah, probably I need to do that. And then right, so it block is expected to clear, to remove an item. So we want to say my key, and then another. No, we actually don't want to say that. We want to do that set item my key, and this here we just want to say some value, and then we want to create another one and say key to remove, and some value, and then we want to say is expected to remove an item, so we're just going to say, yeah, so we want to say subject remove item, and we want to remove the item key to remove, right? And then we just want to say expect subject dot data, not, what is it, not to have, or is it to not have? Let's check. Not have to not have own property, right? So to not have own property, that's what we want to use here, right? To not have own property, key to remove, right? I guess that's what I want to do. Only, and also I can remove this, or subject that, right? No other, right? Let's see. Oh, property key to right. This is supposed to fail because we haven't implemented that yet. So the tests seem okay, and so in my spec helper remove item, I just want to say I want to allow this guy to take one argument, the key of course, and then we just gonna say remove this data, not remove, sorry, delete this data key, right? That would be enough, I think. Yes, an item, right? And then finally, I think finally we want to test the clear thing. So we could in principle copy this and just change that to clear, and we set all those G, and we say we just call it clear on it, and we can move this up here. Since we know that these two are working, the set item works, and then we clear, and to remove item 1, and then I can call it item my key, and then just so right, my key. So we want to remove my key, and we want to key to and we can say my key 2, right? I'm just gonna call it my key 2, right? Right, because we just don't want to have those properties anymore. Let's see if we can do only on this. Yeah, and this is supposed to fail because we haven't implemented anything yet. And so here in the clear, we just want to say simply this dot data equals an empty object again. And that should in principle make them pass. Right. So in a way, we could like agree that we have access to the relevant functionality in my storage, in local storage, by having these tests written, and we don't need this for anything. Right, and all other functionality that we will be adding to the address book will build upon this, and kind of mimic the CRUD action, create, read, update, and delete actions that we usually do in databases. But here we're going to do, everything in this local storage stuff, which is just an exercise. It's of course, can be perceived as a trivial thing to do, but I think that especially, it's a good training exercise in terms of how to write tests using Mocha and Chai. And again, I don't need this because I already defined this in there was an auto added require here that users expect. But the thing is that usually you need this in Mocha, but I configured my test environment so that I preload the spec helper, and all of these things are made available in my test environment immediately. So that's okay. This is actually not gonna fly, the get item and the null. First of all, I don't have a test case for this, and this is not this will not work. But let's write a test case for that, for the get item. So we're gonna add a context here, and the context existing and existing key, and I'm going to move all of these things up there, and then I'm just going to say add another context, existing key, get item in existing key, and then we're just going to say context non-existing key. Right, so here we want to say def response, and we're just going to call this non-existing key, and then we just want to, we basically want to expect to return null, and then we just want to say express response equal null. Right, and this will fail. I think this will fail for us because I don't think I implement this properly. And it's so easy when you work with test driven that you kind of forget a corner case, and you don't know whether your code is being reached or not and what it returns. So by writing automated tests, you can figure this shit out. And also sometimes when you work with test coverage metrics, like you measure how much of your code is actually being hit by your tests, you can see that you have untested code, so you can spot it this way. Hopefully I spotted the right thing. I don't know. It does return null, so that's good. So let's see if I was correct or not. Let's change this to 1 just for the sake of it. So now my test should fail, and it did. So good. So this was actually a proper implementation, but it wasn't covered in tests, and now I did cover it with a test case. So that's not a bad thing. Not sure if the guys who are following have any or girls or individuals following have any thoughts on this, but we just managed to create a fake local storage mechanism in our test environment, and I'm kind of happy about that. Let's see. Right, let's run through the whole thing. And the challenge for me now, and I'm going to do it off camera actually, I'm not going to do it in stream, is to document the process of doing all of this in text, because I'm writing course documentation for people to follow, and also notes for a coach that is supposed to deliver this. And again, you might think that it's a bit trivial and not very useful, and that is of course your prerogative to think whatever you want, but I think that, in my opinion, doing these kind of exercises and force yourself to think and pay attention to all details and learn the craft of writing automated tests is a good thing. It's time well spent. It is not easy, but it's useful, and now we simply know that this method actually works, and in contrast to assuming that it works. And people, whether you believe it or not, assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. In life and in software development, assumptions is the mother of all fuck-ups. And with these words, I want to thank you for paying attention. I will push this up, publish this course materials at some point soon, and I see you online at some other time. Remember to join the the Agile Ventures community and the Work the Web training program if you're interested. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays and do a little bit of coding together. And of course, on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 5:30 UTC, in the 5:30 p.m. UTC, we do a session, and you're more than welcome to join us live or here on stream on Twitch. Thank you. So long.